Between running the boxing club and helping at the orphanage, it kept Bobo and Charlie busy all day, every day. And it was difficult to consider how they could ever take a break or have a holiday. And even though a holiday was out of the question, another possibility arose of attending evening college to further their education. Their ability to learn to read and write recently had made them much smarter. And as a result, they had discovered an oyster and a big ocean of possibilities in their lives. The oyster had left them to consider the pearl that could be within their grasp. The wealth of knowledge opened up new horizons for them, with a view to expanding what they had already learned, to move on into further studies at college. The new goal they set was in master building and achieving tradesmen's qualifications to set themselves up in the building game. In their minds, they built a ship to venture out into the new world that offered them work and good money to build homes and even renovations to older homes. Now that they had a taste of the oyster, they wanted a part of the ocean as well. Bobo and Charlie had rolled into evening college to pursue the jack-of-all-trades license. The pearl in this venture into academia was to secure a university degree and further studies into doctorate. They wanted to achieve the highest qualification they could, and the two lads were excited about finding the pearl that could fill their pockets with wisdom and become, eventually, very successful businessmen. During the first year of learning to be even smarter, they were going beyond what they could ever imagined, with some practical work as well to be taken on board, as well as the theory at evening college and their master building degree. So with their dreams of becoming rich in the jack-of-all-trades careers, they were now on a pathway of no return. Both of them had to find someone who would give them the placement on a building site in order to complete the practical experience, as well as passing on the required assessments that they needed to obtain the credentials to manage all the tasks that were presented. Bobo and Charlie were lucky to start with a construction company that gave them several weeks' work into building new homes in the new estate at Silver Stream in the city. They managed to avoid friction and disputes that often occurred on the building game, and they took on a wide berth whenever there was any fights or arguments on site. They both pushed bars of mud along narrow planks of wood, and they went up ladders with toolkits strapped to their belts as if they had been doing it all their lives. They were motivated now to succeed. There were many things to be done working around the site of Silver Stream, and they felt part of a team. They worked hard together, and the hard work got harder, and the work in evening college got even more intense. But Bobo and Charlie stuck to their guns, and they put up with the aches and the pains over their bodies, and did their very best. After a few months, they returned full-time back to the classroom at evening college, with the desired results in the practical side of the course. The teacher in the course was very understanding of everyone's situation and told everyone that they had learned one of the biggest lessons in life. It's not always about having knowledge, it's about the experience behind the knowledge that makes the difference. He reminded everyone too that they really had to study hard in their written assignments to get the grades that would allow them to proceed to the next level of the course at university. Bobo and Charlie said they would do their very best. Time went on and the lads studied hard, and they did the works as well that had to be done at the boxing club and the orphanage, helping out with voluntary work as often as they could. And the oyster they found was becoming much brighter and much bigger, and they were much happier in their lives now, because it gave them structure and strength and what they wanted to achieve, as well as giving them more insight to the treasures that awaited them in the future. They had both been best friends since their early school days, and even though they looked like two hard men, they were actually more like two angels. They still went to church, and they were still learning Latin because someone had told them that Latin was the language of scholars, Bobo and Charlie had set their sights on becoming top graduates at university. They thought that if they spoke Latin, they would be accepted better by the students and the staff at university. And Charlie thought about speaking Latin and thought it would be a great asset. But Bobo said, Charlie, I don't think it. I know it. If you want to be an academic and get better grades, then we should both know how to speak Latin. You never know, Charlie. The world could be a bigger place for a little oyster. Charlie looked very excited, and he said, Bobo, you know what? I think we should go into the big world with our little oyster, because I want us to have more possibilities. They both studied hard and got on well, and they got rewarded with top marks for their assignments at uni. And with the passing of time, they progressed in their course at evening college, and they felt much more confident knowing that they didn't have to speak Latin all the time in the class. They were accepted by the staff and students at uni, and they were invited to write the story of the journey towards graduation day. Bobo looked at Charlie and he smiled, saying, "We made it, Charlie. Now with these qualifications, we can have the oyster and leave the rabbits to keep pushing their barrows of mud up the planks and down the hill." Charlie laughed and he said, "Sure, the dream come true, Bobo. I'm chasing a different dream now. Now that I've got my eyes on the oyster." The classrooms at university were much quieter now that the course had finished, and most of the students who completed the course had already entered into the workforce. But Charlie and Bobo had another plan. They planned to take their experience at evening college and wrote the story of their journey to graduation like a metaphor of finding an oyster in an ocean of possibilities. And they explained about how that pearl within the oyster gave them the skills and the knowledge that they had gained in the process, and how all of that would be able to give them a better and a brighter future, and a much wealthier place for them to be. Both of the lads had worked hard and deserved the graduated success with all the trimmings. And they both looked the part in their gowns and their cap as they walked through at graduation day with a sense of pride and satisfaction. "There's a place for us somewhere, Charlie, and the sky's the limit now," said Bobo. And with their pockets filled with dreams, the two lads decided to look at either emigrating or going on a tourist visa to Australia with the oyster they had found. So they applied for a tourist visa, and after it was granted, they packed their bags for a trip down under to Australia, a land of the lucky country, they were told, with dreams to capture. They looked at a future with unlimited possibilities, and very soon they were on their way to the lucky country. The end.